Welcome to the deep dive. We're taking that plunge today into what's buzzing on X, trying to get past just the headlines.
Exactly. It's so much noise out there, right?
Yeah.
So we're here to sort of connect the dots, find that deeper meaning, maybe spark some aha moments for you.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Kicking off with a pretty huge pop culture thing happening today. Marvel's The Fantastic Four. First steps. That post from @CultureCrave was asking about initial reactions, especially that whole 1960s retro futuristic look. It dropped today, July 25th. What's the word?
Well, the initial buzz is actually surprisingly positive. It hit Rotten Tomatoes with a 5-star audience score almost immediately. Critics seem to be liking it too.
Really? After all that casting talk?
Yeah, you know, the Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards thing, seems like people are mostly over that initial skepticism. And there's actually some interesting psychology there. You know, studies show that when you're familiar with an actor, it can genuinely make you feel more immersed in the story.
Huh. That makes sense.
Right. And it's not just like a fun theory. It has real impact. We see social media engagement, like on X, directly correlating with opening weekend numbers now. It's shaping things in real time.
Wow. So X Chatter really is box office power now.
Absolutely.
Okay, sticking with movies and nostalgia. Another big one today, July 25th. Exactly 29 years after the first one. Happy Gilmore 2 at Netflix made it official. What's the feeling around that one?
Oh, the anticipation for Happy Gilmore 2 is, it's huge. Because the original, I mean, it's not just a film, is it? It's like a cultural artifact.
Exactly. Are you too good for your home?
Exactly. People still quote it constantly.
Right.
Those moments are just baked into our collective memory. So that creates this, really strong nostalgic pull for the sequel. Sets a high bar, too.
Definitely. And speaking of nostalgia, it's not just movies. Saw a post from @GameWithDave, kind of a shout out to gamers born in the 80s and 90s who are still at it in 2025. That one got a lot of love.
Yeah, that post really struck a chord. And it highlights something interesting. We often think of gamers as, teenagers. But actually, a huge chunk, like 70% in the U.S., are adults over 18. And a lot of them are from those 80s and 90s generations. They're still really engaged.
Still holding the line.
Right. And that image with the post, the soldier one, kind of like Saving Private Ryan,
Yeah.
it subtly connects that idea of like dedication, persistence, the kind you see in long-term gamers. Some research even suggests gaming fosters cognitive persistence.
Huh. Interesting. Especially with all the hype around, like, Battlefield 6 recently.
Exactly. Those veteran players are still a major part of the scene.
Okay, shifting tone a bit here. A really significant cultural loss. WWF posted a tribute to Hulk Hogan. He passed away yesterday, July 24th. Just, wow, an icon.
Absolutely. Hogan's impact, I mean, it's hard to overstate. He basically took wrestling global, right? Hulkamania.
Yeah.
That started back after he won the WWF title in '84.
Yeah.
It just exploded.
Yeah.
Made wrestling mainstream.
Yeah, huge.
He got inducted into the Hall of Fame again in 2020. But it's also, a complicated legacy. There was the racism scandal back in 2015, got him banned from WWE for a while.
Right, I remember that.
So it really raises that question, doesn't it? How do we remember these really influential figures who have these complex histories, both huge contributions and really problematic stuff?
That's a tough one. No easy answers.
No, it's about seeing the whole picture, I think. Not erasing, but understanding.
Yeah. And speaking of influence and maybe controversy, @Terrible808 flagged something that got people fired up. The Time magazine left the Joe Rogan Experience off its 100 best podcasts of all time list.
Right. And that definitely caused a stir online. Because, look, whatever you think of Rogan, the numbers are just staggering. Like 11 million listeners an episode on average, that huge Spotify deal.
Massive influence by any metric you'd think.
You would. Time said their criteria were influence and staying power. But this whole thing really highlights how subjective influence can be, right? Is it just reach and money? Or is it also about maybe cultural alignment or editorial perspective? Like Barrett Media jumped on that.
So, potential bias?
Well, some argue that.
Yeah.
And, Time has made controversial picks before, like Hitler as Person of the Year in '38. So their curation choices always spark debate. What's fascinating here is how influence itself is defined. It's not straightforward.
Definitely not. Okay, let's pivot. Here's where it gets really interesting. Some major science news. @CN Violations posted about Japanese scientists managing to remove the extra chromosome that causes Down syndrome in human cells. I mean, that's huge.
It's genuinely a landmark achievement, scientifically speaking. They used CRISPR, the gene editing tool, to essentially correct the trisomy in cells in the lab. It builds on earlier work, like with Inkless T therapies.
Wow. So what are the implications?
Well, they're profound. Ethically, it opens up massive questions, right? About gene editing, disability, the potential impact on the Down syndrome community itself. And it's crucial to stress, this is still lab work. There are big challenges, like making sure it only edits the target, avoiding off-target effects.
So not something we'll see as a treatment anytime soon.
Probably years away, realistically. Needs tons more rigorous testing,
Yeah.
but it's a major step.
Okay. From genetics to AI. Elon Musk just tweeted, true endorsing Grok 4's medical skills. Very concise. That was from @ElonMusk himself.
Yeah, just true. Classic Musk. But it points to something real. Grok 4, the latest version of his AI, is apparently incredibly powerful. We're talking a model trained on, like, 300,000 NVIDIA GPUs. Massive scale.
And it's good at medical stuff.
Apparently, yes. Things like drafting clinical notes, interpreting medical images, tasks that require pretty sophisticated reasoning. You know, there's been skepticism about AI's real-world medical use, but findings show these larger models do get better at reasoning. It supports xAI's goal of blending really advanced AI with sort of universal understanding.
Fascinating. Okay, let's talk security. Or maybe lack of security. @Austin posted about that T-dating app situation, saying calling it a hack is a bit of a stretch. What actually went down?
He's right to question the term hack. It wasn't really a hack in the traditional sense. What happened was about 72,000 user images got exposed because the place they were stored, a Firebase storage bucket, was misconfigured. It was left publicly accessible.
So human error, not some sophisticated attack.
Exactly. Firebase defaults to lockdown, so someone likely made a mistake setting it up. And this isn't uncommon, actually. A recent study found something like 68% of cloud breaches involve misconfigured storage. Preventable stuff.
That's kind of alarming. Makes you wonder about App Store reviews, doesn't it?
It does raise questions, yeah. How did something so basic slip through Apple's review process?
Good question. All right, shifting gears again. National debt @Unusual Whales pointed out something pretty novel. The U.S. Treasury now takes Venmo and PayPal for voluntary contributions to pay down the debt.
Yeah, it's definitely a modern approach, trying to use platforms people actually use, especially younger people.
To tackle, what is it, $36.7 trillion in debt, can that actually make a dent?
Well, that's the thing. Historically, these kinds of voluntary gifts to reduce the public debt, as the Treasury calls them, they don't really amount to much. So it's more symbolic, maybe, a way to raise awareness and engage people digitally about debt sustainability, which is a growing concern.
But not a silver bullet for the debt itself.
Not likely, no. Systemic fiscal reform is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
This is more like civic engagement meets fintech.
Gotcha. And for the last one in this segment, a bit of humor mixed with finance reality. @Kramer Tracker shared that post. Financial advisor reacting to a portfolio full of leveraged fart coin. The look on his face.
Yeah, that one captures the absurdity perfectly, doesn't it? Fartcoin, which amazingly is a real tradable crypto, like $1.37 on Coinbase last I checked. It just sums up the wildness of meme coins.
Leveraged too.
Right, and the image they use, the advisor, that's actually Fed Chair Jerome Powell in a meeting with Trump, apparently discussing Fed renovations. So it layers this crypto absurdity onto, like, real-world political and financial tensions about the Fed's independence. It's a weird, funny collision of internet culture, finance, and politics.
It really is. Amazing how much gets packed into one meme. Okay, let's unpack this next section. More on the human element online. @Rapiona shared that job interview question. Would you consider leaving if you found a better opportunity elsewhere?
Oof. That's a tricky one.
It really is a loaded question, isn't it? And it reflects this growing trend where companies are trying to gauge loyalty up front. Studies show most hiring managers use questions like this now.
Why, though? Is loyalty that big a deal now? Well, yeah, in a way. Employee turnover is high. But it clashes with what workers want, right? Data shows over half of workers now prioritize growth opportunities over just job security. So the whole dynamic is shifting.
It feels like a test you can't really win.
Kind of. Historically, these questions popped up more after the 2008 crash to check adaptability. But critics say they just encourage people to say what they think the interviewer wants to hear. Conformity over real talk.
Yeah, seems that way. Okay, another one that hit me from @NetCapGirl. Talking about a friend, wealthy, successful guy, but just can't find real love. Asking, is modern dating really this broken? It felt poignant.
It resonates because it taps into something real. Research actually shows loneliness is increasing among high-income adults.
Really? You'd think success would help.
Apparently not always. Sometimes it leads to more superficial connections. And the post mentions Long Island's Gold Coast, that old money, Gatsby-esque romance image. It contrasts sharply with what feels like a more transactional dating scene today.
And the niche interest thing she mentioned, like jazz.
Yeah, that can be part of it too. If your passions are really niche, finding someone who connects with that can be harder. It fits with Pew Research findings that modern dating often struggles with mismatched values. It's tough out there, even with money.
Wow. That's surprisingly deep for a quick post.
Sometimes they are.
Okay, on a totally different vibe. Remember that good news post from @DearMeToo, the one saying, touch it, and you'll get good news today? It was absolutely everywhere.
Oh yeah, those types of posts are fascinating. They really play on psychology. It's partly the Bader-Meinhof effect, frequency illusion. If you start looking for good news because you touched the post, you're more likely to notice it.
So you make your own prediction come true, sort of.
Kind of. Your belief primes you to see it. And these interactive, almost superstitious posts are trending, especially when things feel uncertain globally. Plus, the visual matters. That post had a kind of authoritative look, right? Research shows visuals like that can boost how credible a message feels by like 30%.
Clever. Psychology meets viral marketing.
Pretty much.
Okay, final couple of posts, and these definitely need that critical thinking cap on. First, At Leading Report shared something about a supposed Trump executive order to bring back insane asylums. And then at East End Joe posted an old photo of Trump with a woman, speculating it was Pam Bondi.
Right, and both of these really underscore why we need skepticism online. The insane asylums claim. That's completely unsupported satire. It echoes other times unverified statements have spread like wildfire online. Need to check sources.
Always. What about the photo?
Well, the photo looks maybe mid-90s, which fits Trump owning Mar-a-Lago. But Pam Bondi, her age, her career timeline back then, it doesn't really line up.
So probably not her.
It's questionable.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a Time Archive photo from '96 showing Trump with his daughter Ivanka at Mar-a-Lago. The pose, the setting.
Yeah.
It looks remarkably similar to the photo in the post.
Ah, so that's a much more likely explanation.
It seems so. But it just shows how easily misidentifications or outright false claims can spread. Critical thinking, checking context, it's just vital online.
Absolutely vital. Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today. A real deep dive. Pop culture, tech breakthroughs, human psychology, politics. It's all swirling around on X. So what's the big takeaway?
I think the takeaway is that X, for all its chaos, is this incredibly dynamic mirror reflecting what people are talking about, thinking about, worrying about globally. But the posts themselves are just snapshots, right? It's the context, the connections between them that gives you the real insight.
Understanding the why behind the buzz.
Exactly. Hopefully digging into that helps you look past the quick headline, question things a bit more.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening. In this age where digital vibes just catch fire instantly, how do we tell the difference between real insight, smart marketing, maybe just stuff that sounds good but isn't verified?
And maybe, what's our role in all that?
Yeah.
How do we engage responsibly and contribute to a healthier digital conversation?
Good questions to chew on. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.